For as long as Adult Swim has been around, animation has been in a constant state of bizarre evolution. Whether it's the incredibly low-budget stylings of Space Ghost Coast to Coast, which cleverly repurposed old assets from Hanna-Barbera shows, rest in peace, George Lowe. I hope you get that ant in the afterlife.
Try biting me now, ant, from the afterlife.
Then you have the surreally ironic, ugly CG visuals of Xavier Renegade Angel, the gorgeously animated, anime-inspired visuals of Ballmasters, or Smiling Friend's unique blend of animation styles similar to Gumball. One thing has remained consistent across all these projects though, just how f***ing bizarre they are, and God bless them for that. Adult Swim has always prided itself on bringing to life some of the most unconventional animated series imaginable, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Yet, as Jeff Goldblum famously said in Jurassic Park, they never stop to ask whether they should. This has unfortunately led to numerous failed Adult Swim series that came and went without much fanfare. Though of course, there are always a few dedicated fans. Shows like Mr. Pickles, 12 Ounce Mouse, and Squidbillies fall into this category, among others. Which brings me to the topic of today's video, Yolo Crystal Fantasy Silver Destiny Rainbow Trinity, helmed by Smiling Friends' owned, second in command, Michael Cusack. This Australian animated comedy is now in its third season as of this weekend, and yet while Smiling Friends instantly takes the internet by storm every time a new season drops, Yolo has remained strangely niche. Sure, the odd clip will be uploaded to YouTube by Adult Swim with a couple views, but nothing on the same level as Smiling Friends. Its previous seasons also premiered with very little fanfare, whereas both seasons of Smiling Friends immediately became viral sensations, generating countless widely circulated memes. This begs the question, why has Yolo received such lukewarm reception despite sharing the same co-creator who arguably contributed some of the best visual gags in Smiling Friends? Well, let me explain. And just a quick reminder, if you're enjoying the video, be sure to drop a like and a comment. Totally free, and it helps boost me in the algorithm. Plus, it puts a smile on my sleep-deprived face. Alright, back to the video, guys. It shouldn't come as a shocker, but Smiling Friends is a show cooked up by both Zach Hadel and Michael Cusack, and it benefits from their wildly different artistic styles blending together, like some oddly beautiful, deranged Will It Blend styled smoothie. On top of that, the show frequently ropes in guest animators who've made a name for themselves online, like Harry Partridge and Sick Animations, just to name a few. This constant mix of visual aesthetics keeps things from ever getting stale. No two episodes ever quite look the same, as each episode typically follows a specific gimmick animation style that the creators want to have fun with. However, the same can't be said about Yolo, as it is pure, unfiltered Michael Cusack. His brainchild, his baby. And much like your friend's baby that you keep claiming is actually not unpleasant to look at, it's loud, misshapen, and covered in weird fluids. Now, I wouldn't dare say Cusack's animation is bad. Far from it. But let's be honest, it has a rough, almost I made this in MS Paint at 2 AM kind of charm. That's exactly the point though. Ever since his early days on YouTube, Michael has embraced the unconventional, drawing characters that look like they were left in the Australian sun for far too long after being bitten by numerous Aussie critters. Almost as if to highlight just how grody and bizarre his world of Australia truly is. From Damo and Darren to his early Yolo animations on YouTube, he's consistently leaned into making his characters as butt-ugly as possible, sometimes to hilarious effect. Hell, my favorite character from Smiley Friends, the Party Guys animation, can be seen in just about every episode of Yolo, complete with Michael's signature uncanny rotoscoping, which in small doses is comedy gold. But here's the thing, and I know I'm gonna get blasted for this hot take, where Smiling Friends never forces you to stare at grotesque abominations for too long, Yolo wants you to marinate in the filth. Practically every frame is crammed with weird, lumpy-looking characters, often engaging in rapid-fire gross-out gags. Sure, Smiling Friends also has its fair share of fast-paced, hideous visual jokes, but Yolo dials it up to a level where I can totally see some viewers tuning out. And I mean its lack of reviews on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes pretty much reflects that. Michael's style is just something that takes a little more time to get used to, and doesn't quite have the same broad appeal that Zach Hadel's animations tend to. Michael has even claimed that Smiling Friends' designs, although many were his, were filtered through Zach's unique style, which, although grotesque, almost turns them into Muppet-like designs that are far more easy to digest.
Definitely make sure that the main characters have that Zach filter, colorful shapes, and you can see that on my YouTube channel, Cusack, too, where it's just like spam characters. Zach gravitated towards that, but the brilliant thing about the combination was, like you say, he can turn that kind of style into a much more palatable thing, much more, like you say, like a Funko Pop on model. It just surprises me so much.
And that's just it. Michael Cusack's chaotic animation style is hilarious when sprinkled in a Smiling Friends, but when you're watching it in its purest form for an entire show, it can feel like staring directly into the sun, if the sun had a mullet and was vomiting. I usually need to take a break personally from the show, whereas Smiling Friends I can easily breeze through due to its appealing visuals that are almost reminiscent of the Muppets. However, one of Smiling Friends' biggest strengths is its tight, fast-paced episodes, which keep the humor fresh and prevent any concept from overstaying its welcome. With most episodes running around 11 minutes, like a lot of Adult Swim's best shows, the series delivers rapid-fire jokes, bizarre scenarios, and hilarious character interactions without dragging things out. This shorter format works perfectly for the kind of unpredictable, punchy humor that Smiling Friends thrives on, ensuring that no gag wears thin before moving on to the next. Although this led to some of the characters getting less of a spotlight, looking at you, Glep.
What's the green thing do?
With more seasons on the way, we're bound to get more character-centric episodes like an Alan Adventure. In contrast, however, Yolo's very Michael Cusack-styled episode structure, while allowing for more ambitious storytelling and world-building, can sometimes feel a tad bit repetitive. The show often follows a loose formula of Sarah and Rachel embarking on a wild, surreal misadventure, which despite the creative visuals, can start to feel a little predictable over time. Without the same rapid pace and tightly contained storytelling that makes Smiling Friends so endlessly rewatchable, Yolo occasionally struggles to maintain itself, making some episodes feel more drawn out than they need to be. It's not to say that the show isn't funny, it's just it kind of overstays its welcome and becomes a chore to watch for most viewers. Smiling Friends, although incredibly random at times, never feels random just for the sake of it, whereas some elements of Yolo essentially feel like random for just that reason. Like a collection of rough doodles Michael Cusack drew while ignoring a class lecture in school made into an entire episode. And while I know this is totally anecdotal, when I put on Smiling Friends to watch with friends on Discord, people want to continue watching more because they love the animation and find it hilarious. But when I put Yolo, there's a noticeable shift of restlessness. People laugh at the first couple visual gags that are kinda disgusting, but then they go silent. That's probably just me, but I don't know. You can feel free to let me know below in the comments, because it is just a subjective opinion. Ultimately, Yolo isn't a terrible show. In fact, I actually quite like it a lot. It's just not something I see myself rewatching as obsessively as Smiling Friends. It falls into that peculiar Adult Swim category of shows that are enjoyable but don't quite have the same long-lasting impact. But hey, that's totally fine. Not every show can be Metalocalypse or the Venture Bros. Just like a show entirely helmed by Zach Hadel would probably feel like staring into the abyss for 22 minutes, Yolo lands somewhere between Squidbillies and The Brack Show. Not exactly an eyesore, but not something that burns itself into your brain either as anything memorable. That said, if you love Michael Cusack's voice, Bushworld Adventures, and The Big Les Show, this is the perfect thing to binge before Smiling Friends Season 3 drops. As in my honest opinion, this is a show that perfectly blends both their artistic sensibilities equally. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next week.